You can do one thing since we are getting late. I'll give me some 15 minutes extra. I'll try to wind up. If something is remaining, then we'll take up in the next class also. Next class, I have some other plan to talk about, uh, but we can. We'll try to catch up the lost timing. Now this is visible. My screen is visible. Dr. Sima,
P-
my is
PPT
it
is not
visible?
visible, sir. But
Sir, PPT, how we used to do? I forgot that technique. But how you?
uh,
Yes,
in the
Say
middle
here,
share
share
option.
screen, no?
Yes, sir. Yes,
Share
sir.
screen.
Yes, sir.
Share screen. But it is not coming. Window, entire screen. Uh, share. Now it is coming.
Yes, sir. Yes,
yes,
sir. Now
sir.
it is visible, sir.
Okay, okay.
Okay, sir.
So today, since I got the feedback from our participants, sorry, the coordinators that much of statistics has been done. So this class I was planning for non-parametric tests because yesterday, as I was telling you that always in research we have any paper you take, you will find that the general analysis is mostly in parametric terms. Parametric means when you assume the normal distribution. I am sure that many of you are acquainted when you have conceptual clarity about these things. But since I cannot take the class on non-parametric in isolation, I'll revisit some of these concepts. So go till 1:30, and till 1:30 we'll stop, take the break. Then in the next class, if something is remaining, we can discuss. And in that class also, I'll tell you something else as per my plan, but we'll be able to make up. So this, what is this? Am I audible to everyone? Am I audible to
Yes,
everyone?
yes,
Okay.
sir.
Yes,
Okay.
sir. Yes, sir.
Now, so so then this non-parametric test, why it is important? In actual world, there is hardly something called normal data. People use different techniques to make data normal, then apply certain techniques. But in social science research, development, especially in development, social sector development related issues, those who work or working as a student or a project or pursuing PhD will find that most of your data which you collect is not symmetrical, is not actually appropriate for making any statistical inferences. So there are a lot of techniques how to make data normal, but that is not focus of our class. Can we use the data as it is and apply some statistical test to draw some meaningful statistical inferences from our data? That is the purpose of this session, and I'll try. I have given a sample data. That sample data I have used in past 1.5 years to take this class, which has both ordinal as well as continuous data, so that we can apply different tests. So when I am speaking, of course this PPT will be shared with all of you. I have taken the screenshot how the process has been done for 4 parametric test that is available in SPSS. All the 4 I have, and I'll discuss. So by the time when I am speaking, this PPT you can see, and also you can try in your laptop or mobile if you possible. You also try simultaneously to replicate what I am talking. So let's go to next slide. So just to begin, as I told, that non-parametric test, we cannot teach it in isolation. Some refresh about the purpose of statistics itself is very much necessary. So statistics is nothing but learning from data. It is set of methods to collect data, analyze and present them, and final outcome it helps to formulate policies. Yesterday we were talking about the policies. What is these policies? Policies, you called it is evidence-based policy making. When we talk about evidence-based policy making, then the role of statistics come into play. Now, as I told, that statistical analysis yesterday, so I was saying that how it is important to form a hypothesis or formulation of a research design. From research design only, research hypothesis comes after several steps. First, you have to formulate your research, define your problem, find out possible research questions, and it is, if not possible, it is mandatory that you have to also look at other works which has already been completed, then understand your population universe. From that you draw sampling, then develop your research tools, then you go on proceed to data collection and analysis of data. So that's how we all go, and I am sure that you all have some kind of experience into this, and the last 15 days class has helped you to understand these nuances of statistics. So just giving some refresh on the types of sampling, that you all know that simple random sampling, systematic sampling, stratified sampling, and cluster sampling are the major way of sampling to draw a uh, representative sample from a given universe, population universe. Because as I told yesterday, that the research has two constraints. Any research has two constraints: social science research or natural research, natural experiments, that is called budget and time. Apart from that, you have certain mandate to explore certain relations, certain outcomes, certain procedure transformations. So that's how the research constraints are universal, and to overcome the research these constraints, sampling is one of the very important way to collect data from a vast population or unknown population. Now, this sampling, which has been listed here, are called scientific sampling, because you draw a sampling frame where the population is defined. Suppose you are doing a research on elderly, so from the population universe, you isolate the elderly, then that becomes your sampling frame. Then you focus on how much proportion of data you want from this elderly universe, that is the sampling frame. Then you come to sampling design, then you draw actual sample. So why I am telling this, though if people know that when we go to non-parametric test, how the sample has been collected, which technique has been used, is very very important. It is not only because the data I have shared with you, that data represents some kind of household survey in a project I have undertaken some time back. So that data is actually kind of a household data which is collected through scientific sampling. Now, this same data, you imagine if it is collected through snowball sampling, you have numbers, but then since it is not scientifically drawn, it is not appropriate to use the parametric or the general statistical tools like t-test and z-test, etc., or regression. So how then to draw statistically, scientifically valid inferences from such kind of data, where data, if it is collected through proper scientific way, but it has no normality. Data is skewed either way, left or right of the center, our mean, median, equal to mode, that will go in the next slide. I'll show you. Um, then another thing is that if the data is collected through kind of some kind of snowball sampling, where you do not know population universe, you find out one elderly, then in the community you find out where the household is, where the second elderly is available. So those kind of data also, many people use this non-parametric test to give validity to the inferences drawn from those kind of data. So next, so this will just keep, this is just refresh yourself before we go. So the ordinal and nominal data, when it is there, and your continuous data is not normally distributed, that is the distribution is skewed in either way, then this non-parametric test is one of the way to overcome such hurdles to draw the meaningful inferences. So this is from our data, the file I have shared with you. So the gender, and if you say, look at, then the also uh, the study outcome, then you will find that certain kind of, and you take their height per age. So if that is showing some kind of frequency, so the variables you see, when the gender is a ordinarily variable, the year of study is also in years. So that is a kind of continuous. But then somebody has reported, your investigator has reported that PG, post graduation. Now, post graduation, see, this is what I was telling yesterday, that how we collect data, that is very, very important. When we ask year of study, we have to ensure, are we telling year of study completed or year of study? Suppose the last year, let's say the somebody told, I have 10 years of education. So 10 year is completed or not, and which one he is referring or starting point to reach this 10th. So then this data becomes kind of problematic, because it has both the numerical numbers and as well as text. So that those kind of things you have to clean. Either you have to codify the year of study all into ordinal groups, or you have to make all continuous. Now height in centimeter is already in continuous variable, nominal variable, that is sorry, continuous variable, because continuous variable can take any value in the distribution between the two numbers. So now these three kind of data you have. So if somebody asks, give me a statistically valid inferences drawn, then anybody is saying anything? Hello, hello, uh, Simaji, is there any comment? Because I am only able to see the
No, sir.
PPT. Okay. So if anything, my mobile is there. You can do one thing: send a message to my mobile, so I'll look at it. If there is any question, please don't hesitate, because it is kind of, we are all learning together. So there is nothing restriction that still I complete. Then you will ask. There is nothing. But someone, only one person, let Miss Sima to write whatever the question, so that I can follow it up from my mobile and I can answer here. Okay. So this is how these three variables are at different measurement scale, but we have to draw a reference inference. Now the suppose this variable is not normally distributed like our height and year of study. I told that already there is a problem in collection of data. So what we'll do, we cannot go for resurvey. We have to work with the tools available to make the data usable. So that's how where these non-parametric tools are coming comes in handy. So now some of these very PPTs I have shown that sometimes what happened, like I was telling, the education can be coded. So how household income with the file which I have shared, you see there is a variable called household income. It can be coded. So these kind of things are very much necessary if you have a data which is not normally distributed and it is a mix of continuous and ordinal or nominal variables. So these are just the screenshot. You can replicate it whenever you after this class or whenever you have time. So another thing, somebody ask that your data is purposive, I understand. Your data is collected through snowball approach. That is, you have a kind of first you find out someone, then you collect information about second, third household like that. But then uh, how you reach the number, because this is many people argue that non-parametric samples does not mean that it is a non-scientific way of collection of data. It is not random in that number which we collect, the number of sample we collect. It's not so random, because even in a scenario when the number of households are not known, number of beneficiaries are not known, there also we should use the sample size. We can actually estimate that what is the minimum sample size required. Based on that, if you use both parametric and non-parametric approach, then the inferences drawn will be scientifically valid. So for sample size estimation, now there are a lot of online.
Sir, slide is not moving, sir.
Slide is not moving.
Yes,
It is still in the first slide. No, I am in slide number 9.
Sir, slide is first slide, sir. We are
slide, sir.
seeing first one.
How it is happening? Because I am able to move here. No, I have shared the slide with all of you. Ms. Tima, can you give all of them the slide? Because if some correction is done to be done, I'll say later. Because we cannot lose time on that. I don't know why it is happening. I have shared the screen actually with all of you.
Sir,
Uh,
screen is visible, sir. Now it
uh,
is changing, sir.
my God.
Now it
Because
is
I
okay,
have
sir.
made the full. If I made the full screen, then it is not changing.
Now it is okay, sir.
Can you see the sample slide 10?
Yes, sir. Ninth slide.
I am sending. I'm changing. Oh my God. This is in fact my new laptop, so I am yet to know its function. So sorry for that. So anyway, so we'll go. Some all are in sample 9. Sorry, all are in slide 9.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
All are in slide 9. Okay. So this is a simple formula where you can collect a kind of sample size estimation based on two very important things. One is what is the standard deviation you want, the dispersion from the mean, which is invariably people take that the either way 50% cases should be there. Then another is your confidence interval, which is the 95% confidence interval, and the margin of error also 5%, that which implies that 5% error could be there. So based on these three things, we have a sample size estimation. So the sample size will be very important whenever we actually go for a scientific inferences drawing, whether it is we use a parametric or non-parametric. Many people think that non-parametric test is kind of something haphazard. When your sample is not proper, you just use non-parametric test. No, non-parametric test also demands equally the sanctity of sample size estimation and sample collection. Are we in slide 10 for all of us? Slide 10.
No, sir.
Okay. Uh, so slide 10 is now. Slide 10 is visible to all.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So sample data is used to estimate parameters of population. Then now the statistics. Now you all know that when you draw the sample, the information from the sample, it has it is called statistics, and population, the mean and standard deviation, population mean and standard deviation are parameters. Now in non-parametric test, you use the same technique like parametric, that your standard mean and standard deviation are very important. But non-parametric test has another advantage. Suppose you do not know mean or standard deviation, but you have certain distribution which has a median, that is called positional mean, positional center of center point of the data. Now this median also you can use in non-parametric test. That is the benefit of the non-parametric sample. Now we'll skip this one. So the dispersion, I am sure that the you people have lot of clarity on this mean median mode. So some of the parameters, as I told, that non-parametric test is useful when mean and standard deviation, population mean or standard deviation are not clear to us, and we do not have means to find out it. So what we do, we take the median of the distributions, given distributions, and try to find out the inferences, meaningful inferences, which are statistically valid. Therefore, they are also scientific inferences. Now, the some of the advantage, because we will talk about only four four kind of non-parametric tests which are widely used, but there are now 50 odd tests are available based on ranges, interquartile ranges, mean deviation, standard deviation, coefficient of variation. So there are a lot of tests every day. It is coming for different kind of data, different kind of situation, clinical control trials. So non-parametric test world is going up as researchers have now realizing there is nothing called a perfect normal data. So it is better to deal with the data as it is. So these are some of the formulas you can go through if you have already. It is there. Then you always remember that the non-parametric test, when we say the median, if you want to range. So what are these? How these are calculated? If somebody wants to know, then for them this slide will be useful. Now come to slide number 16. In slide number 16, what I have presented, two types of normal data. One normal data has a very perfect kind of distribution, where you can see 50% of the distribution are in the left side and 50% are on the right side. But there is a distribution below which is also normally distributed, but you find that lot of data are clubbed together around the center. So that itself also shows that if your data is like your second figure, then it is very difficult for you to draw any inferences even if the data is normal. So if you use the non-parametric techniques, it will be ideal for this kind of scenario as well. Now, these are three different scenarios where we deal with in the parametric and non-parametric world. Parametric, already I have told you. Now, the non-parametric ones comes if it is a nominal data. Please understand, I am talking about nominal data here. Nominal data, sorry, not nominal, continuous data, continuous variable. So, these continuous variables, if you can see that the second and third one, that skewed left and skewed right, there also this non-parametric test, I'll show you. It will be useful. So let's skip this one because it is about how to calculate the descriptive statistics. Some of you can do. Now see the distribution, how to know, know that your data is not normally distributed. I'll show you there is a statistical formula. Apart from that, there are pictorials, especially the histogram. Those who know about this already, maybe the basic statistics you have covered it. This histogram is the most easiest and way to understand the distribution, data distribution. And you can see that in here we have apparently a normal curve, but too many distribution on the left of the midpoint. Okay, so how to interpret it? If it says few large landholders may be dominating the distribution. So that's what I'm saying. It is drawn from the file I have shared with you. If some of you can try when I'm speaking, or maybe later, you will find this graph. You go to the land holding in acres, put it in the histogram where I have given this slide number 18, how to do it. Now you can get the statistics as well as this histogram. So here it shows, even if this is a normal data, but lot of distribution are skewed in the left side. So application of parametric tests like t test, z test, etc., will maybe sometimes will be misleading because you have not controlled your distribution for the outliers or for the shape of the distribution. Your distribution is skewed in one way, so mean and median is actually got influenced by the extreme values. So in the presence of extreme values, if you apply, then you may get erroneous results. Now we'll go to next. So sorry, I have to log in my laptop. Just give me half minute. Uh, there is battery. So, so this is how we have means coded, because we have, as I told you, that when we have a kind of a distribution which is skewed in both way, or sorry, skewed in one or the other way, then the better way out is make them recoding into and make them a categorical ordinal variable, so that we can apply the non-parametric test. So it is better to have a non-parametric test rather than a erroneous parametric test when your distribution is skewed. Now I'll not spend much time on it because hypothesis is very important, and how the hypothesis is an assumption about the population parameter, you all know. So the hypothesis setting, that how you are defining your hypothesis, is very very important. So in page number in slide number 22, I have given the way we should formulate your hypothesis, because hypothesis is tested through statistics, but it is expressed through your language, your command over language, whether whatever you are using, any regional language or English. It is very much important to write the in a proper way, that how it should be written. You should not use any very confusing or very kind of words or terms which will have some other meanings also, but it has to be simple, straightforward. Like the first sentence you take: student who receive training in a given workshop like yours will have better outcome in the entrance exam compared to students who do not. So this hypothesis is telling something about that a intervention has been made in a group which will have better outcome compared to the group which has not been given the intervention. Like that, some 4 5 examples I have given. Always, I'll advise you whenever you start writing even a research program, research proposal, research design, first write down what are the researchable questions. From the researchable questions, you draw the research hypothesis and try to express it in very simple way yourself, and then find out that whether this makes sense or not. Because as I told you, that everything, your data collection, tool making, then the tests, everything depends upon how you have started from the beginning. From the beginning is how you have framed your research questions. So that's why I am revisiting this slide. So I'll not spend much time on it, because you can all go through this slide and you have already attended this class. So these are the few properties which you which are self-explanatory. So you must go through them. So then we'll go to we'll skip some of these slides, because I told you earlier that most of the time the any test, any test we are talking about, it cannot be in isolation. It has to be started from the purpose of statistics itself, then the process, then the properties of basic distributions we have to understand. Then only if you go to parametric or non-parametric or other statistical approaches, then you will lose, you will have the clarity, and you can explain the process you have followed in a better way. So then we'll directly go to alternative hypothesis also. You please from page 25 to 30, 31. This you must go through yourself, because this will help you to formulate the hypothesis, which is helpful for parametric as well as non-parametric tests. Okay. So then um, this slide is very important. 34th slide, slide number 34. So slide number 34, what it tells, that you have something called large sample and small sample. What is large sample? It is understood that if your n, a number of observation, is greater than or equal to 30, then your sample is large sample. It is a thumb rule. Okay, in statistics we use lot of thumb rules, like deviation, standard deviation can be, should be 0.5. So kind of that, we say that everything starts from that probability of happening is 50% and probability of non-happening is 50%. So this kind of thumb rules and some assumptions has to be followed, so that we can build upon more advanced tests. Now the small samples are what? Less than 30. So the non-parametric test, why I am focusing on this slide, non-parametric tests are actually useful when your sample size is less. But as we progress in the class, I'll understood it is not that only 30 observations you can do wonderful. No, that is not. Then the number of attributes, it says, when the number of attributes, let's say there are three attributes: gender, years of education, and the stunting outcome, or a height for age. So these three outcomes, when you interact, will get a classification table. So that matrix, that will be how many? Because there are three variables, so 3 minus 2, you will have that many number of, let's say, the cells. So each cell should have 5 observations to minimum. Many people, when they say that large, I have large population, large sample, because it is higher than 30, so I can apply parametric test, and it is less than 30 non-parametric test, they forget that it is not only the total size, sample size which is important, it is also equally important what is per cell, how many observations you have. If per cell number of observations are less than 5, then almost all tests will be erroneous, whether it is parametric or non-parametric. So then, so for the so with the chi-square test, many people will be already familiar. When your two attributes are there, which are categorical or ordinal, you use this chi-square test. Then somebody will ask that if the chi-square test is already there, then why you need a separate set of tests for non-parametric, called non-parametric tests, when your data is not normal. Now, please remember the chi-square tests, what it says. Chi-square test says that there is some degree of association between the outcome and the explaining variable. And it is always, at best, you can take, at least spaces allows that by cross tabulation you can do from where you draw the chi-square test. If you open your spaces file, you can see that, uh, take for example, something called, I have done there, lands land ownership coded, social group in categorical. So you take social group wise land holding. You can do that. Can you all do that in spaces, participants? Hello, hello.
Yes, sir.
Participants,
Yes, sir.
can you do from the spaces file I have provided?
Yes, sir.
So you see the matrix, how many columns and rows you got? Can you tell me, one of you, that you, when you cross tab your social group and land holding coded, so how many cells you get?
Sir, 1 minute, sir.
Shall I do for you? First, so I got it first person. So how many you can see? So land holding, we have two categories, and social group, we have four categories. So the matrix, even in spaces output, you do not realize it, but if you paste it in Excel or something, you will realize it will be 4 into 2. So there are four groups in caste and two groups in the land holding category. So 4 into 2. So there is 8. So 8 cells we should get. Okay. Okay. Can you get the can you get the cross tab of land holding and social group? I have written caste there. It is not social group. It is not written. Have you done? One of you, Mishima, can you see the participants? At least one of them have done the cross tabulation. Hello, are you people listening me?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Ha, ha. So cross tabulation is taking so much time.
No, sir. Done, sir.
Done. So what you got there? So SC and no land. What is the number you got there? The household is from scheduled caste and those who have no land. What is the number you got? I got 67. Did you get that? Did you get? Hello?
Sir, I got.
67. Okay.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So those who have no, have land, but they are from scheduled caste category, they have 213. So that's why I am telling this, because see, in this chi-square test, what is the chi-square test result you get? What What is the chi-square test result you get? Tell me, chi-square test. Chi-square test. Can you do that chi-square test? When you go for cross tabulation, go to statistics and click on the chi-square. It is easy. We should not lose time in that. Please, someone guide, someone help them, because this class, if I would have been there, I would have totally done it in everybody's laptop only, practical. But for some reason, I could not travel. But then,
Yes, sir. I got the chi-square test.
so chi-square result. How? What is the chi-square? Pearson chi-square. What is the Pearson chi-square significance? Tell me.
1 minute. Yes, sir.
It is 0.190.
Zero.
0.190.
No, sir.
Huh?
0.038 I got, sir.
0.038. It cannot be, because I will not get different results from same file. Hmm. So
I
what
will try.
in row, what you have given in row, what you have given in row
Yes.
you give the cost, and in column you give the land holding.
Yes,
Okay.
sir. I will try one, sir.
Uh, at least one of you, if you can do, the others can follow up. I don't know if everybody is sitting in one room or at different places online. So it is very easy. It should not have taken 10 minutes now. Please, fast. We have lot of ground to cover. Did you get Pearson chi-square 0.190 with degree of freedom 3? What is this degree of freedom telling us? Not getting yet?
Yes, sir, it is 0.38.
G? G? Okay, I'll do one thing. Let me open my spaces also. If you can follow it, but I don't know if that will create any problem here. No, I don't have it in my laptop. But in WhatsApp, so I think I failed to communicate properly. Please open your spaces file, go to descriptives. You will have the cross tabs. In cross tabs, in row variable you give the cost, and column variable you give the land holding coded, not land holding in acre, land holding in coded. Because cross tabulating a continuous variable and a categorical variable has no meaning. It cannot be explained. Okay. So the cross both has to be categorical. So your landholding coded is also categorical, and your caste is also categorical. Then you can draw meaningful inferences that whether the hypothesis, the poor and marginal sections have less landholding, because this is from a practical data. Means this is a true data from one of the project, where we found that scheduled castes have land ownership, higher land ownership than other social groups. Then other social groups, actually what happened, they have sold their land and shifted to other places. That's why when they sold the land, the people from scheduled caste category have more land ownership vis-a-vis the other social groups. So this is not relevant to our this thing. But if somebody asks why this is happening, I've written there also. In one of the slide, I've written why this result we get. It is not a fallacious data. It is actual data. But this is, yesterday I was telling about that how to observe the social phenomena without biasness. If we go through a prism that scheduled caste will always hold less land than other social groups, it may not be true. and we should accept it that some, it may not be in large scale, but in some cases this hypothesis will not hold true, because if in a village in Gujarat where a lot of villages for centuries people are migrating, in some of the villages you will find out the forward groups have moved out and the land is being cultivated, and later the ownership is transferred to most of the people from backward classes. So that's how the social transformation in land ownership has happened in some of the cases. I am not generalizing it for Gujarat. Okay, so this is now why this important. This is important for our argument here, because we are talking about non-parametric. Now the chi-square limitation is, because if I raised a question, if there is chi-square test available, then why the non-parametric tests are required? But chi-square test has limitation of using only two categorical variables, even if their inferences are powerful, their inferences cannot be ignored, but it does not, it only shows some association. It does not show the direct direction of association, but it shows that likelihood of some degree of association between the two variables. But the non-parametric test will give much more than what a chi-square test gives, because in non-parametric test you can in a way compare the group wise also the some of the continuous observations. That's why the non-parametric test like Mann-Whitney, Kruskal-Wallis, and other things, Wilcoxon test. So these things will, when we'll discuss, this will be superior to chi-square test. And remember, the chi-square test often come under descriptives, okay, like mean, median, the basic feature of the distribution. But the non-parametric test comes under the statistical inferences that is drawn through proper way, where the associations direction is also we have able to find out that whether it is a positive or negative association and the degree of association, because chi-square test cannot show us the degree of association, but the non-parametric test helps us to find out this degree of association. Okay, so the now let's say comes to 39. So this is normal distribution. Already we have talked about that symmetrical curve will have almost 68% of the data within one standard deviation of the mean. This is mean minus one. So these are the properties which you can go through later. This is the graphical presentation of a perfect normal distribution, and these are the skewed distribution as we are talking earlier. Now this type 1, type 2 error I'll not go through because you have must have already gone through it. So we'll go straight to the see most of the slides I am keeping because you have already kind of exposure to it by other experts. But since this is a class related to statistics, always I told you in the beginning, in isolation, studying any statistical concept may be not useful. So that's why some of the things I have recapitulated and I will be shared with you. The PPT is already given, but our major purpose is the non-parametric test. See some of the, this is here one distribution you see. What is this? The QQ plot. So I remember the histogram I talked about. Now this is QQ plot, which is also showing whether the data is normal or not. It plots the actual observed value against the expected value that is represented in vertical axis. So from the QQ plot also, you can find out the straight line of 45 degree between observed and expected value. How far the distribution observed independent observed value are far from this line, straight line. So that also gives a kind of indication whether data is normal or not. See, this is a non-normal data. It is from the continuous variables only. Okay, so histogram and QQ plot, they will be helpful to find out normality only from a continuous variable, not from categorical or nominal variable. That you have to remember. Some of you, I'll request also make note, even if the PPT is there. Making note is always helpful. So chi-square we have already talked about. Goodness of fit already we have talked about. So now we'll actually come to our data. Now please open your worksheet and please replicate the following. I have told one of the cross tabs you have to do. See, this is how you have to do. That time I was telling no whether we'll find the degree of freedom 3 and significance at 0.10 per Pearson chi-square. So if you do like this, then you will find that table which I was talking about. Yeah. So slide number 61 actually I was asking you to replicate. Now what has happened? If you the data which is given to you in that analysis, you will have also a bar chart. Now in that bar chart, I have not taken the percentages but actual numbers. You can use the percentage also. So what it is showing, I was telling little before that it is showing something which is, we do not expect. That is the scheduled caste category have higher land ownership than the general and OBC categories. It is from a true data. So why people, when you present this kind of findings, people will say that something has gone wrong. No, not necessarily. If you have understood your study area and you have drawn proper way of data collection, these kind of figures, given the changing nature of social transformation, where migration plays a very important role, where people shift to new occupations by leaving their ancestral properties, which is very common in certain regions, parts of the country. This kind of data will always hold good. So now I have also given an example how to present the findings. Yesterday I was telling that how it is important that what you want to speak from your statistical test. So many of times what happens, reviewer gets something from the table, from the parameters, and something what has been written. Now, there many of the rejections come, especially those who are writing scientific papers or trying to write. Please remember that most of the papers, they see that how the research question is formed, whether your analysis follows that research question, and third thing, whether your conclusions are derived from your experiment or statistical test. So that's why I have given an example. You can always improvise on it, that how to write a test. I'll not spend much time on it. It is there in the slide. You can follow and improvise. Now, this chi-square test, if you see the I was telling about 0.190. See, the result is there. 67 scheduled caste households have no land, vis-a-vis 213 out of 280 those who have land. But if you see in percent terms, the general category will have less land, and of course scheduled tribe category. So this is how the example I am giving, that a chi-square test has a limitation. It only facilitates some degree of association whether it exists between two categorical or ordinal variables. Now the correlations are also equally important, but I will not spend much time on it. Correlation, then regression, all these things have been already talked to you. But in correlation, always you remember this thing, that many people say that what is ideal correlation. See, ideal correlation should be between 0.75 to 1. Becomes strong correlation. But if it is 1, then it is perfect correlation. And if it is less than 0.25, it is weak correlation. Why I am spending time on it? See, most of the time, it's people, there is no meaning presenting one to one variable correlation. But correlation, when you express a correlation for a model where a set of regressors are drawn upon an independent variable or outcome variable, if your overall R square is less than 0.25, you have weak correlation. If it is, even if it is statistically significant, this R square is this R is statistically significant, it will also have limitation in expressing the kind of firmness, that how strong is your result. That will be questionable if your R is too low. So next, we'll go to, this is also how to present a Pearson correlation I have shown. See, now the earlier I have asked you to replicate this household holding and in a coded variables, whether you have land or no land, and another is the social groups. Now here I am drawing a correlation between two continuous variables, which is landholding in acre and household income in rupees. So it is actually a minus sign is there, so that indicates ownership does not always guarantee higher income. Those who are familiar with the development in agriculture, we all know, given the rising input costs and other factors, crashing of market prices during the peak season, peak harvesting season, the most of the agriculturists are not getting profit they should get. In fact, they are suffering from losses. So that's why this data is proving that land holding does not mean that a kind of a higher economic status, because your income is not up to the mark. So now what has happened? What is how this is important in our context? See, I have done this, as I have told you. I'll to show you in the latter slides that my variables, these two variables, you'll see they are not normally distributed. They are skewed variables, the income as well as the land holding. I showed you the histogram also, that how it is not normally distributed. But I tried correlation from these two, ignoring the fact that my variables are not normally distributed. So I got some relation, and this relation nobody can question, because given the it is a weak R I got of the Pearson correlation, it is less than 0.25, and it is also not a uh, it is also not statistically significant. So still I am drawing this inference. So this is the problem, because even if I found something and I showed that this is not appropriate relation, so then somebody may ask that why I have done this exercise. This exercise has been done to show that if you run a parametric test on a non-normal variable, then you can get the statistics which will not be significant or show poor correlation, because your underlying distributions are not stable. Your distributions are not normally distributed. So that's why we'll come to the non-parametric test. See, OLS also I have shown there. You can we can skip it, but some of you can replicate all these things. Then you use this. See, in the regression, you want to say tell something, but in non-parametric test, now you want to use the same hypothesis. Like say for our example, that land ownership does not guarantee increase household income. Now this can be tested through OLS or through binomial logistic regression or through non-parametric test. Now your exercise is you use these three this the hypothesis you remember. Just note down one hypothesis I'm giving. Just note down. You can do it after class or after the workshop. It is ending tomorrow, but still write down this hypothesis. Some of you can develop some small note also, that land ownership does not guarantee increased household income. This is the hypothesis. Now, this hypothesis, you apply these three. You forget about the land ownership because you have two coded variables on land ownership. One is coded, another is continuous. So you can use a logistic OLS model. You can also use a binomial logistic regression. Control for the other regressors, whether continuous or categorical. Then find out all the interpretations I have already written there in the PPT. See where I have done some mistake purposefully. I have written because in PPT I am using this to trigger your mind that you should also find out what is wrong. It is not always necessary to know what
Yes,
is
sir.
right. It
Sir,
is also, huh?
in case of gender and land decker, it should be categorical data, sir.
Yes, gender and land. See what I am saying. What is the hypothesis I given you to test? That
Land ownership does not guarantee increase household
was
income.
you use that in OLS. Ordinary least square when you use your continuous variable, your outcome variable has to be continuous. So
Yes.
either you use income as a continuous variable and
Yes.
as continuous or categorical. OLS categorical variables in regressors has not much meaning to interpret. So you go then coded variables, you code the household income and you code the land ownership, then you run a binomial logistic controlling for gender and other variables. These two will give you some result which is not, we cannot say these are wrong findings. Based on data you can prove, but if you see the certain crucial model parameters like model r square and the in context of the regression, the odds or the coefficients, you will find that they are not kind of a number which is interpretable. Some are too high, some are too low. Why? Because you have applied these two parametric ways into kind of a data which is not normally distributed in the beginning. So can you test that in can we test that in non-parametric way? Yes. So now we'll straight go there. See, when I am saying this, please do not understand me that I am telling don't use parametric test because I, t- I am only making you familiar with the non-parametric ones. That's why I have to show you the strength of non-parametric one. But non-parametric, it does not make a non-parametric test is superior to parametric. Please don't go with that kind of assumptions. It will be failure on my part if I make you that kind of conclusion to draw. It is only I am showing that if your underlying variables are not normally distributed, then if you use binomial logistic regression, you use OLS, what kind of output you get, and if you use the non-parametric ones, what kind of results you get. All have its strength, all have its weaknesses. Then as a researcher, it's your duty how to synthesize it. Okay, so I am only making you familiar with this. So the OLS model interpretation I have written, if somebody wants to follow, that's okay. And always I told you, one or two places I have kept interpretation little bit incorrect, because that is job of my students to find out. Okay, so now we got to this thing. So now what are we'll start with the non-parametric tests. So non-parametric statistic, as I have already told you, that these are distribution free statistics. That means underlying distribution of the variables does not mean does not affect the interpretation from the statistics you derived from the exercise. So that has been already told, and some of the major non-parametric tests we use are sign test, Wilcoxon sign rank test, Wilcoxon rank sum test, Kruskal-Wallis, Friedman, and rank correlation test. Rank correlation already I have shown you. So rank correlation test, always remember that rank correlation has to be done between two continuous variables which are not normally distributed. So in our case, the file I have given you, if there is land ownership and if there is what is that other one, income, both are continuous variables, both are not normally distributed, then Pearson rank correlation, yes, rank correlation test will be also appropriate for that instead of simple Pearson correlation test. Okay, so now we'll in the spaces, all the six tests are available, but I'll show only four of them. In As I told you, the mean and standard deviation are crucial in a parametric test. It is absolutely necessary for mean and standard deviation to be there. But in non-parametric tests, we can execute the testing statistical tests with the help of medians also. So these are be helpful for the purpose of sample, as I told you in the beginning. Okay, so now first of our non-parametric test, another 15 minutes, we'll be able to complete this class. Wilcoxon signed rank test. So it is a non-parametric alternative to the paired sample t test, which is used in parametric approach. The only assumptions made by this Wilcoxon test are that the test variable is continuous and the distribution of the difference score is reasonably symmetric. So, as I am telling you, that household income, go there, Wilcoxon and sign test. So somebody was asking gender and land holding, how to look at it. Okay, it is two, also known as Wilcoxon test, is also known as two related sample test. So you have a group where you want to see compare whether the men and women have similar land holding, start means overall land holding, uh, which are comparable or which are similar. May not be exact, but women and men, the difference in the land holding is not statistically different, statistically significant. Difference is there, but not statistically significant. So for that, this is called two related sample tests. The problem is, it's not problem. It is the way things are. If you are using SPSS, because I am familiar with it, I am teaching all these things in SPSS. Somebody means you have also been taught this Tata, so I'll request Tata or other Jamobi or other R, if you have been taught, please refer to the manual of those statistical packages, what kind of terms they are using for the states and how they are doing it. That will be upon you, but in spaces, this is the way to do. So if you have data, You have already the data. Just your go to the analyze. In analyze, go to the non-parametric test. There you select two related sample test. Click on the Wilcoxon. Sign test will not do. That is the extension of it. Then will derive the results. So we'll get this output. So it is showing significant, and how it is done, how it has to be implemented. So what it has done now across all these two groups, male and female, it has land holding status in acre. Remember, here we are not comparing two categorical variables. If you do, then it will be not possible. It will not give any result or give results which are erroneous. You cannot. So this is a test which helps us to compare a ordinal variable with a continuous variable. Please remember, ordinal variable with a continuous variable. So how it treats? No, it divides the data into two groups. It ranks them, ranks the scores, then find out what is the sum of the ranks and whether the sum of the ranks are what is the mean of these ranks. Okay, again, even if it is a non-parametric test, it also uses the mean, not median, for this particular test. So and it has found that mean some score they got for one group and for the other group. These negative ranks and positive ranks are nothing but the difference from the median. That median we are talking about, each group has a median. So below it there will be certain scores, above it certain scores, then it get the sum. Now whether that's jet statistics, I have given the formula there. The same way, then once this test in non-parametric way do, see many of the people who are not able to follow what I am saying, because it requires certain degree of familiarity with the statistics and tools. But those who are familiar, I am sure you must be following. But don't worry, because SPSS is designed for people who are not from mathematical or economics background. It is used for social science. It is called statistical package in social sciences. So any social analyst, sociologist, political science, everybody, anthropologist can use it. So it is very user friendly. So but just you have to remember the process, why this test we are doing, and what variable we have to enter here. And once we enter, whatever the output we get, how we'll interpret it. So once the ranks are been done, then this jet test is applied and significance is calculated. So you find that it is significant at 1% level as it is showing 0. So what is the interpretation? I have written here. See the Wilcoxon sign test. So how you will interpret? Gender, which is categorical variable, and landholding in acres. We want to look at if landholding between male and female headed households differ. That is our research hypothesis. Okay, we are comparing two attributes. One is gender, another is landholding in acres, and whether they are different. We found landholding in acres is not normally distributed using histogram. You can use the case test also. So we carried out a non-parametric test using two related sample tests suggested by Wilcoxon using spaces. The results show the highlighted portion is most important. The result shows the average landholding in acres for two groups, male and female, varied significantly. So the negative Z value refers most of the observation fall below the mean. So this is what we have seen in our histogram. So we are saying here that since it's male and female, you cannot say that the direction, the positive and negative in a cross-sectional, in a ordinal variable does not have any meaning. But what we can infer here, probably the female-headed households must have been your less land holding. That how you can do. Now go back to your cross tabulation. In gender and land holding coded, you do the cross tabulation. You find out whether the women have less hand holding than men. Then you use this inference from the cross tab to test it, because the cross tabulation is only showing association, it's not showing the direction. So it is, now you got some kind of a direction to it, that whether your relation between the variables, the gender and land holding, is positive association or negative association. But the interpretation, this final interpretation highlighted, has to be cross-checked with the cross tabulation. The cross tabulation must have shown that female-headed households have less land holding. So that now is tested using a non-parametric Wilcoxon sign test. Yes, there is some difference. Okay, because here from the test itself, you are not able to tell that whether it is male or female, which group. Because this is the disadvantage of non-parametric test also. That non-parametric test only add to a degree to a cross tabulation or bivariate analysis. When bivariate analysis shows some association, it gives a direction to the association, but does not tell you who are they. That depends upon your understanding and how you have positioned the variables before initiating the test. Clear? Any, all the people are listening, they are hungry. I know, but don't worry. We'll also finish. Maybe two tests will take after class, after lunch. That will be okay. Some 10-15 minutes. Coordinators, please. Hello. Hello. Anybody is listening?
Hello.
What I am saying, that one or two tests if we keep after lunch, will it be okay?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So now comes to the another test. So now this test is if we have more than two related samples. So one we saw that the Wilcoxon sign rank test, which is between two groups, that is we take gender, which has two categories, and land outcome. But then you can have multiple groups also. So how we'll do it? Now that is called a ANOVA, because apart from OLS in parametric test, another test which is used widely is ANOVA, analysis of variance test. So analysis of variance is again demands your variables should be normally distributed. Now, if the ANOVA, if the distribution is not normally not normal, then how to apply judge the variance in the distribution. So there is a way out. It is called Friedman's ANOVA, which is applicable to non-variable, non-normally distributed distributions. So you again go to analyze, go to non-parametric test, then select test for several related samples. You will get an option Friedman. There are advanced version of it, Kendall's W and Cochran's Q. Will not go into it because this has some specific use, but Friedman can be used uh, as it's a basic tool for this. So what we have done here again, now we have taken household income, land holding coded, and caste category. So caste, land, and household income. You'll see household income, this caste and land holding, these are two categorical variables. Now land holding is the continuous variable. So how to do? So Wilcoxon sign test we used. it is only for two groups. Now this Friedman is actually helping us to compare the variance for more than one group, more than two groups. So you see that land holding in acre, caste, and status of beneficiary, the N has been given. Now again, I was telling, if you remember in the beginning, not only median but other positional values like quartiles, quintiles are also used in non-parametric test. In previous case, we saw that both median and mean has been used. Median value over and above of the group median has been summed and mean is taken. Now here you see that we have used the quartiles, percentiles. It's 25th, 50th, 75th means it is quartile actually. So the quartile formula has been used to derive the mean rank. There are a lot of formulas. We don't have to worry about it. SPSS will do for it. But those who are statistics students, they can explore it further. Now, here also you have some chi-square results. So, how to interpret it? Now, Friedman test is carried out if we compare more than two related samples. In our case, we look at if mean rank for household income, that is a continuous variable, across caste and landholding status for the household are same or not. Latter two are categorical variables. So the results show that the household income varies given the landholding status across social groups. See, when you add one more attribute. In Friedman ANOVA, you can add many more attributes, but always you have to be rational. If I say put several attributes in a particular in a given test, then how I'll interpret? If I give district, block, everything, then after that social group, then after landholding, so it will be a kind of a disaster. So always I'll suggest if you have care related samples, don't go beyond three attributes. Okay, one may be continuous, the other two may be categorical, but there should be three attributes. Then your interpretation will be easier. Suppose I introduce here one more layer, that is a household from BPL. Now, how will interpret? The results show that household income varies given the landholding status across social groups depending upon the BPL score. Still, I can manage, but if I add one more attribute, then it becomes disaster. Okay, so that's why even if Friedman test allows more than two related samples to be compared at same time, more than two means that has to be very rationally. You have to select the groups and you have to find out that it has been done properly. So now come to Kruskal Wallis test. Kruskal Wallis test is, I told you, one I saw is using both median and mean, another is so using the quartiles. Now the third one using medians of two or more independent groups when the data is not nearly distributed. This is also a kind of one way ANOVA alternative for a non-parametric test. The Friedman ANOVA, now this Kruskal Wallis, they are all looking at the variances. Hmm. The test works by ranking all the data points from all groups together, then comparing the average ranks for each group. So if you'll see these all these tests, you will get confused. But it is only minor variations are there, some technical variations, but the interpretations differ. You have to remember the particular test you are using, whether it is for the two groups or it is for K related groups. K means more than two groups. In that, you have to see whether you are applying for median or quartiles or you are applying for the ANOVA, means it is showing the dispersion or it is based on the distribution mean or central point of the distribution. See, it is maybe confusing, but the thing is that these four tests are more than enough for any non-parametric test. Any kind of data you can handle here. Mostly we use categorical data with continuous outcome. For that case, the first test I show is very useful. Now the Kruskal-Wallis test is like Friedman's ANOVA. It is also based on the variances, but it does, it calculates the medians for two or more groups when the data is not normally distributed. Then it ranks. Once the median is done, then data below median and above median has been ranked by the groups. Then it is calculate the statistics and compare the whether the difference in the ranks across groups are different, statistical different or not. It is ideal for ordinal and nominal data comparison. Again, I have shown you earlier the same thing. It allows. So this is the process it follows. It is also starts from your chi-square distribution. So necessary properties are the observation within each group should be independent of each other. Distribution of data in each group should have similar shapes. For accurate results, each group should have a sufficient number of observations. See, again, I come here. I have told you earlier that n is greater than 30 or n is less than 30. That is one of the important criteria. But now you see all the cells should also, when I show that matrix, landholding coded with, let's say, gender. So there how many number of cells are there? So there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 cells are there. Okay, because caste has four categories, then gender has two categories, so matrix is 4 into 2 and it is total 8 cells. So each cell has to have 5, minimum 5 observations, otherwise the statistics will be misleading. So it is not only 30, but this cell wise also minimum 5 observations you should have. So this is the interpretation of the properties. You can look at it. uh, So now we will do the Kruskal Mann-Whitney test. Now, what is the Mann-Whitney test? Mann-Whitney test is a kind of Wilcoxon ranked sum test, but now it is how it differs. It differs in the way it ranks the data. So many people don't either use MU test or Wilcoxon scientific test, but this is also a non-parametric test to compare two independent samples. So it is not for more than two samples, Mann-Whitney. So can you see the 97 slide? Excuse me, 97.
Yes.
So Mann-Whitney results have been given. You see, this is the also mean of ranks and sum of ranks. Like our first test, it also uses. Okay. So the output we'll see now. I think so. What it is showing again, our groups were landholding in acre and landholding coded. So this is actually, I think, for example, purpose. So for two groups, we have, I have given knowingly that you use one coded variables and you use one continuous variables again in the group. Then derive the Mann-Whitney test. So what has happened, you see that when you are calculating, it is in terms of acres. Okay, sorry, coded in acre, you are getting Mann-Whitney results. Okay, this is purposefully done. See, Mann-Whitney test you are using a coded variable against a continuous variable. But when I put two coded variables, it is nothing but Wilcoxon test. Wilcoxon's W it is showing. Both will be valid, but the interpretation, while writing the interpretation, you have to remember how to write it. Okay. So test. Valley says. So now almost all the tests, the four tests we have completed. If anything, don't worry. Now we should have lunch break. You can, when you come back, we can talk about if there are any further questions. So some of these things I have written also the how to interpret it and how to write it. The Kruskal Wallis and the Man Whitney, everything. So now the last slide will come. Though we have few examples here for two of the here it is non-parametric tests and some another two tests I have only seen shown how to do and how to write. You have to practice. So first you have to remember that which test to use where. Suppose there is example. We have observation in continuous variables for before and after the intervention. Sometimes we have follow-up data also. So there is intervention made, then you want looking at what is the outcome, change in outcome, then treatment test is appropriate if the data is not normal. And if it is same case, but you are looking at a for a given attribute like impact on physical growth after getting nutrition supplements from ICDS rural after certain months. So the Wilcoxon test is also useful. See, what is the difference between the two sentences? You look at very carefully. You look at very carefully. You can discuss in the next class. How, why one place I have suggested Friedman and another place I have suggested Wilcoxon test. So see what has happened here. You have one attribute called before and after. Another thing is intervention made, and another attribute is change in the, let's say, stunting height for age. So if you, when you have two related samples you are comparing, you should go for ANOVA. You are looking at the variance, then Friedman's test is I have recommended. Wilcoxon test, when it will be, if you are interested to use mean and median for your non-parametric test, then this test is appropriate. That's why these two sentences look almost similar, but two different tests has been there. Okay, with this, we'll end the current session. You, when you come back, some of the things which will be uh, required further input insight, please, we can spare some 15 minutes to 20 minutes on this end. Okay, thank you.
Okay, sir. Then we will meet
These
at.
are the references. These are the references.
Okay, sir.
Another thing I can tell you, these all these non-parametric tests, if you do not have spaces or data, you can do it in Excel also. So there is a very good book has come, and I'm proud that he is my guide also, by Professor D. Narayana and two of his associates, who have very nice way compiled or how to do all the major commonly used statistics tools in Excel. So this is not very high cost book. It is very affordable price. It's very recent, 2021. I think second edition also come. If you can follow it for non-parametric, I'll tell you, don't even need a spaces. You can do it in Excel. Because of time constraint, I did not do it myself in Excel because some Excel versions is not supported currently by our system available here. So to avoid that, I did not use Excel here, but you can do it in Excel also. Okay. Thank you. Thank you. We'll meet at 2:50
Yes,
2:15.
sir.
or 30.
There is one question, sir.
Uh-huh. Please tell
Sir,
your name.
regarding the when you're making as at the some testing with respect to the Wilcoxon test, all those things, so
Uh,
which is actually using, sir,
See,
because so many the statistical techniques will be there. There are so many interpretations will be taken into considered based on the objectives, based on the independent variables. Result will become, but as an initial stage, the which is best one, and based on that you can develop some models. Can you please suggest that?
yes, that is a very valid question. If you read my slides from 19th onwards, I have written clearly where to use. There are slides where it has been written where to use it. Okay. So it will see. I told you, like the last sentence, sorry, 100-second slide. You go see the sentence one and two. The sentences are looking almost similar, but one case I have written use the Friedman test, another case I have written Wilcoxon test. Now it is up to you that you have to choose whether I need a non-parametric test which will use mean, score of ranks, or ranks based on median. From that only you have to do. Basic thing you have to remember is, see, SPSS gives only four options. Out of these four options, two options you will find only for two related samples or two independent samples. In real world, we use more than two, because if it is two samples, it is a kind of cross tabulation, but with a direction. You will get a direction. Now, in actual, we use more than two variables, two attributes. There you have k related samples. So those two tests where it is written k related samples, one is Crystal Wallis, another is your Friedman ANOVA. So these two tests you can use based on, because these allow more than two attributes to be inserted in the model. Okay, clear?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes. But the research point
Is
of
clear?
view, suppose we are, yes, sir. But as a research point of view, we are in commerce or economics background. When you make it as a this type of the analysis part, whether the social students or psychology student can be understood.
See, statistics is not, statistics is itself a discipline. Okay, as a social science researchers, we only take very limited properties and limited models, functions from statistics. Our social science researchers from any background, our job is to look at how the social transformations change, how different stakeholders in the social and economic sphere they engage with each other, and how to read them. And there are other ways. There are completely non-statistical ways to define the relationships, to define the change, and to make policy suggestions. Also, those are purely non-quantitative techniques. Now, in quantitative techniques, why we go? Because a policymaker will always try to understand things in a macro perspective. So your sample may be 200 or 300, but one of the property of statistical exercise is, apart from revalidation, it should have a property of generalization. So your sample, whatever you are getting the findings, it should be generalized over a larger population. How it will happen? It will happen only if you use statistics, certain statistics. So, as I told during my lecture, that the sociologist, political scientist, if you go read the discipline, those who are from that discipline, you have now biostatistics, which is used largely by the demographers. You have statistics to study the voting pattern, voter outcomes, political changes, political participation. Lot of exit polls, they are all based on political principles, political science principles, but they are using statistics. Like that in sociology also, the sociology also using lot of statistics nowadays. Okay, so statistics, why it is used? Because it gives a kind of empowerment to the researcher.
Yes, I understood. I understood. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Ah. So anything else? So it is already 1:45. Your food may be getting cold. Please have it. Okay.
Okay, sir. Sir, at what time next session will start, sir?
You are served me 2:15. I am sitting here. So if it is 2:15 or 2:30, if you give, I'll also take something. But
Uh,
the next spokesperson should not be
yes,
in
sir. Next
trouble.
session is another person.
When
Research
he is
person is
coming?
there.
When he is coming in? He
Four
or she?
o'clock, sir. 4 o'clock.
4 o'clock. So if we finish by 3:45, it is okay.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. It is okay, sir.
So 2:30 to 3:45.
Okay, sir. It is okay, sir.
Huh?
Okay,
That will
sir.
be okay. Okay.
Okay.
Thank you. It will take me for some time to upload the PPT. Just wait. Till then, we can discuss about the previous class. Anything you want to know? Hello, participants.
No,
No,
sir.
sir.
You are silent after food.
No, sir.
Ah, just tell me how, what, because see, whatever I have given you, it is not too difficult. But the thing is that only thing you want to know, someone is asking, there are so many tools. No, only 4 tools in non-parametric test. If we take other tests, the my 56, 58 tests are there so far, to my knowledge. But these 4 which I have given you, it will be enough. Only thing you have to find out first criteria, which one to use. I'll give you this PPT. I'm still revising it. Maybe after class 1 hour or so, I'll give the updated one. There, I'll put one summary of the tests, which will guide you which non-parametric test to use given the research question. But I'll tell you, whatever I have written in the slides, these are all indicative. Okay, if you want to think that, if you want to treat this as a final word, it will not be appropriate. You have to actually see what is the context, what you want to say, then only. Because only 4 tests, I am telling, only 4 tests. If you master, it is very easy to interpret, very easy. Even smallest to, let's say, 2500 to 3500 articles also, if you put 1 or 2 non-parametric tests, don't have to include much more complex models, but your paper will have weightage and will have easy publication. I myself has published some 2 3 papers where it was impossible, given the data, to have some kind of parametric test. But with the non-parametric test, only few lines I have written that clicked. So this is the beauty of non-parametric test. Whenever the data you do find that it's not suitable, you can use it. Okay. So I am uploading the document. Please. Miss Sima, I have given you the document. Uh,
Okay, sir.
it is there. So now, if there is nothing we have to discuss, I am sure there are a lot of things to discuss, but you also need time to understand what was what the things and how we find how we reach the place. So you are already overburdened with the information, so you need some time to reflect upon. That is perfectly fine. So this third class, I'll be talking on. See, has is anybody covered this part? Ways to find support for research grants and selected insights. Means I'll talking about how to write a research proposal and all these things broadly. Anybody has taken class on this? Hello? Please respond me.
No, sir. No one has covered this.
Okay, okay. So I will also share with you after the class when I'll send the PPT, the final PPT. Some revision is needed. There I'll give you a compendium of all research grants so far available in our country. Most of us are familiar with UGC, ICSR, then Tata Research Grants, CSI Research Grants, UGC grants. But if we look at, there are hundreds of avenues for getting research grant. Of course, much more for the scientific research. But even the scientific research bodies also have accepted that social science research is equally important. So, if the mainstream scientific research find a genuine cause for social science aspects to be looked into, they'll be happy to fund. So, before that, since it will be a very important thing to know that as I told you that social science research or any research has two real constants or enemies. You can say this is one is budget, another is time. We the researcher often begs to the funding agency for the two, but they are very minimal in allowing you the time and budget. So when without any research support in financial terms, will not be able to explore the desired goals of social science disciplines, that to study society and its different stakeholders. Okay, so when we actually put a research proposal or we put a proposal to study something, what we do, we get confused between what is a research study and what is a research proposal. So this is the first and basic difference. If we are clear, then only our likelihood of getting acceptance for a funding is will increase. Now, what is the difference between a research proposal and a research study? Not much, but the minimum differences make a huge difference in your effort to get secure a fund. So the always research study is your own initiative. Please remember, research study is a is your own initiative. Like you are pursuing a master's dissertation, an MPhil, which is non-stop down, or a PhD that qualifies for research study. After PhD, also postdoc and other, you want to contribute some original ideas. So research studies goal is to find out new frontiers of knowledge, new research ideas. That's what the research study does. But what is the purpose of research grant? The purpose of research grant is very, very specific. How you are contributing to the ongoing initiative of the agencies and how you will contribute to the execution of the projects. So the next funding, when it will be made or repeated funding will be infused in that initiative, your input will help them to rationalize, then maximize or optimize the outcome and remove the barriers of the implementation. So now it is clear. So most of the donors actually they look at some kind of local initiative in the project proposal. That means it has to be contextualized. When you do a research study, like I was giving an example yesterday, that how education helps women empowerment, which have a bearing on the outcome for atrocities on women. Okay. Now it can be a research study. I was giving example of a PhD scholar. Now, suppose the same study, most of you, if you are researchers and seeking grant, please note National Commission for Women and Ministry of Social Justice and Empowerment of Government of India. I don't know about provinces like Karnataka state, whether they give or not, but Department of Social Justice, Social Welfare and Justice, and National Commission for Women. Every year they advertise research projects. Remember, research, not research study. What is happening? Some problem? Hello? Shall I continue?
Yes, sir.
Miss Sima? Hello, participants. Any problem?
No,
No
sir.
No,
problem,
sir.
sir.
Please continue.
Some disturbance. Okay. So it is actually breaking my flow. So this is the research. So that is, you will see this Ministry of Social Welfare and Justice or Niti Aayog or National Commission for Women or National Commission for Scheduled Castes and Scheduled Tribes. Every year they come out with research proposals, not research studies. Research studies is your own way of defining the frontier of knowledge. You think something is missing, so new thing, new knowledge has to be added. So this is called research study. So first mistake any researcher makes while writing a proposal, he starts to write a proposal but actually ends up in writing a research study or vice versa. So, like yesterday, I was telling that was a PhD thing. So, this is a research study. But if I want to study that with a funding from a National Commission on Women, and I have to position myself in such a way, it will not look as a research study. I will not claim that I am going to increase the frontier of knowledge on the given atrocities of women, but I will help you to understand the nuances of the process of seeking justice, the barriers to justice, and the role of agencies and stakeholders in getting the justice. Then it becomes a research proposal. Can you see my PPT? Everyone is seeing my PPT?
Sir.
Hello?
No, sir. PPT is not visible,
Any
sir.
problem? Please respond at least.
Screen is not screen is not shared, sir.
PPT
Screen
screen
is
is
not
then you
seen.
should tell me na, because I have started already. I don't know where it went, because today or yesterday, since I came from travel, there is a lot of This WhatsApp is there, na? 3 weeks course. Okay, share screen.
Now it's visible, sir. Your mic is mute, sir. Okay. सर फुल स्क्रीन आपने फुल शेयर स्क्रीन किया है सर. अब आप बात नहीं कर सकते सर, आपका वॉइस नहीं सुनाई देगा इस पे. स्टॉप कर दीजिए सर, एक बार आप स्क्रीन शेयर स्टॉप कर दीजिए.
Then now it is. So again,
yes sir.
share
So now
screen.
I can hear you.
Okay, window. Entire screen I should say. Yes.
No sir, no, don't take the
Yeah.
entire.
Okay. Now it is coming.
Yes sir, now it is coming.
Oh. Okay. I don't know why it is. This is actually window. Which one I should click here? Entire screen or
No,
window?
window
Huh?
only sir, not entire screen. In window only
Window.
the PPT will show you sir.
Okay. But it is not giving. Again, it went, nah?
Yes sir, it is visible.
So, can you? It is visible now.
Yes sir, now it's gone sir.
It's gone.
Now it is not showing sir.
What is this? Please, I'll call somebody. Wait. Tushar, please come now. Urgent, please. What is this? It was working at that time.
Till then we can
Now
use
it
this.
is.
No sir, I have shared
You
the.
use that, no problem.
Yes sir.
Okay, so the first slide. Let's see. So that's what I told. The first thing, the difference we have to understand between research study and a research proposal. Okay, research study is much more. It's the researcher's initiative. Not necessarily that it is always not getting any funding, but you have to be very clear to see in the call what they are seeking, whether they are seeking a research study or they are seeking a research proposal. Okay, so that is the takeaway. Please note down, research study and research proposal are two different things, and their purpose is very different, and their objectives are very different, and maybe the stakeholders will be very different. So next slide please, slide number 3. So the objective of the research will be when, why then research? What is this objective of the research proposal? Research proposal. The research proposal's major objective is that how I have told that how to further the causes of the ongoing intervention in different development projects. That project proposal must be contextualized. If you are studying at country level, then you have to define how the country, taking the country as the study area as a whole, will enable you certain things. If not, then why? What are the alternatives? Can you narrow it down to certain provinces, certain states, or certain districts? So that then your knowledge about the statistics, sampling frame, sampling strategy, sampling design, everything comes handy to you. So the research proposal, I told you, has to be contextualized. Research study may or may not be. Research study can be generic. You can look at different association based on available data, but certainly it may add to knowledge, but it may not add to the policy making. But research proposals, the major objective is to have policy making, to provide input into policy making. So that has to be clear in our mind when we start writing a research proposal. We will not talk henceforth. We will not talk about research studies here. Research study is equally important. It only makes you a researcher who writes a proposal in future. So I will not focus on how to write a research study. Instead, we'll talk about research proposals, as I'm sure many of you must be trying different sources. So I'll share with you a compendium of all research grant sources that is recently published by the Ashoka University free of cost. It is available online, but many of us do not know. In 84 pages document, they have listed every research possibility of getting found. So that I will not repeat it. That I will just share after the class. Now coming to the uh, how we are going to start to write a research proposal. So research proposal has to be a kind of a, the call for proposal generally varies across different agencies. Like those who are familiar with the ICSR system, you will find that in a year at least twice or thrice they call for research proposal. They have research, it is called major research grants, minor research grants. So this terminology is very important. When they are writing research grants, you have to find out that whether this is for the research study or for a research proposal. If it is research proposal, like recently, they have advertised for research proposal on management of groundwater in India under Atal Bhutal Jal Mission. Okay, many people might have applied for this. So that is, then they are looking for a research proposal because they are looking at the intervention made in a particular scheme to improve groundwater. Now, the research programs, the major research programs are actually meant for the research grants in ICSR system, mostly for the policy oriented. They only look for the kind of how the interventions could be make better. So their format will be very different from a research program where they want to add knowledge. Like that, UGC has also different research. I'm familiar with the UGC system. They have also mostly their studies earlier used to be for research studies. Now more and more, since government wants the academicians should be part of the development story of India, their insights are required. So they are more and more positioning their research, the finance research budget towards the research grants. Again, research grants means how you will be contributing to the implementation policy, revision of the policy, making of the policy at different stages of execution. So that's how this story about the research grant unfolding. So first and foremost, many people while writing a proposal, the deadline has passed, the deadline has come. So first and foremost thing is that it has happened to several of us, especially myself. I have missed several deadlines while having a complete proposal. Your deadline will go. So the making marking the deadline is most important thing, but there are certain agencies who, like Department of Science Technology, they have also rolling proposals. Okay, rolling proposals. So that means anytime you can submit the proposal when they want, they will look at your proposal, they may contact you, and if find suitable, they will also fund your proposal. Next, please. Next slide. Slide number 4. So slide number 4, when we seek research support, Broadly, there are five kind of research activities we undertook. First is the fellowships and postgraduate research, which is basically to train young researchers, students in higher education to orient themselves for exploring new things in natural science as well as social science. Another research support is basically delivery of conferences and events. Okay, like you are doing a workshop here. Some research support they must have got, the institute must have got. Other how they will fund the participants. So that is a kind of research support you will get to organize the academic activities. Now again, this comes the study grants. Study grants are the like ICSR major research program and all, where they want to advance the frontiers of knowledge. Department of Science and Technology, ICRIAR, even ICSR, then your Indian Council of Agriculture Research, they are now funding cutting across the disciplines because interdisciplinarity and multidisciplinarity is now the major thing, major focus under new education policy. So under new education policy 2020, almost all government bodies are funding social science research, but given their own objectives and goals, how the social science research proposal is fitting into it. So you are not, social scientists are not dictating what should be the research study, research context, but it is the funding agency which will give you the context. That's how the research grants, next type of research, fourth one, differs from these study grants. Then sometimes the solicited proposals. Solicited proposals are basically nowadays somebody wants some kind of a demand for a metro rail project in a given city. So they initiated a project report that they want to know whether if we introduce a service or we introduce a user fee, how many takers are there, how many takers are not there, or they have made some intervention. Let's say they have equipped primary health centers now to treat burn injury cases. So how that is functioning? So the department, concerned department may ask for a solicited proposals where mandate is fixed. There is hardly any role to make some innovation into it because the agency in the hand wants to know what has already been done, how is working, and if some intervention has to be done, then how it should be done. But they are not asking you to redefine the problem. To redefine the problem. That's most of our kind of institutions like your CMDR or GIDR. We are actually mostly working in research grants or solicited proposals from various state governments, other bodies to study a particular scheme and intervention. Next slide, please. Next slide.
Sir, regarding the research fellowship, suppose I heard about it. Suppose the British Council will be there. There are
Please continue. Continue.
universities will be taken into consideration. So how this the proposal will be going to apply? Because lot of scrutiny is going on, and we
See,
don't know. We don't know. Suppose we are in the village background. We are also dreams for the Oxford University. Some maybe in terms of the fellowship. So for cracking all those fellowship, how we will taking
yes, sir.
some initial.
Yes.
Please.
Miss Seema, can you go to proposal? Can you go to slide 4, please? Slide 4. Slide 4. Hmm. See, I have given you these five types of research, and I thought that many of you are early career academicians or going to finish PhD or mid of PhD, who in your future will be more interested into research grants. But that's why my today's talk is mostly around the research grants and solicited proposals, which generally in a research institution you are required if you are part of that, like CMDR, GIDR. The major activities to generate fund through research to support your institute. So that's why I took this. But what you are asking, that you want to still continue the study and you want to apply for certain kind of fellowships, whether in India or abroad. So you are looking at a student kind of proposal, study proposal, which is not part of today's talk, but it is very, very important. If next time your organizers may actually for all these five, I'll tell you, all these five require different skills, not similar skills. Their performance is different, their mandate is different, and how it has to be done, how it has to be submitted are also different. And not only by this program wise, also it differs across the agency who is calling this. Like you are saying, British High Commission study. There is Indo-Canadian Lal Bahadur Shastri program is there. There is this French initiative is there. There is the South Asian fellowships are there. Now there are our Pradhan Mantri internship program is there. So these all these grants are actually for what you are telling. Ki you want to pursue higher knowledge and you need support. But then they differ in their mandate, they differ in their performance, they differ in their kind of cycle of advertisement. So all these things, and I will actually recommend that you, I mean, have to attend another class on how to apply, how to apply for the research fellowships, because we are today only in this 1 hour. So we are only discussing about the research. Okay,
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
clear?
Yes.
Okay, huh. But see, the thing is that it is. I'll give a kind of example of potato here. The potato goes in every curry. Okay, it is also solo performer as well as it also performs with other co-artists, means other vegetables also. So it is like that. Some of the things I'll talk today will also be useful for your student kind of fellowship kind of thing, that will also be useful. But most of, if you ask me, I'll tell you the yesterday's class what I spoke you. If certain points where I have put emphasis, if you have noted it down, then most of the things you will find out is only playing around those pillars. Okay. So anyway, we'll go to the next slide, please. Next slide. Next slide. It is already 3:10, so we have to finish by 3:45 maximum. So first we have to start with a research proposal which is seeking grant, which is about to study a intervention which has already been done or being modified, or sometimes it closes, what is called end line survey or end line study, sorry, end line assessment evaluation. So evaluation is very crucial in a research grant. Research study, you should not use the word evaluation. You can, your study is actually does not require only evaluation. It requires many things else. So once you are evaluating, for what? For what you are evaluation? Because you want to make some intervention, some change in intervention. So that's why it is for the research grant. You have to have this methodology or your title have something, some information on how you are going to evaluate, or if somebody drags it further, how you are going to assess the impact or impact assessment. So evaluation or impact assessment is integral part of your research proposal. Okay. So the natural components, if you see those who are frequently applying or going to apply or working in with your senior project leaders, how project proposals being made. Professor Siddhalinga Swami is very good in writing proposal. When in his GIDR days to till date, he's very fast and very much equipped to prepare a sound proposal, and most of his proposals actually being realized. So it starts with a executive summary, then different statement about the problem, how the proposal is going to work, its objectives, how staffing and administration of the project will do, evaluation, sustainability, how sustainable, because after this sustainable becomes the sustainable development goals came. Almost all research grants, they were looking at how how your proposal is addressing some of the sustainable development goals. I'll tell you that without referring to a single stage, sustainable development goal, if your research proposal is made, then it will not get funding from anywhere. Even from a smallest NGO also will not give it, because everything has to be aligned with the sustainable development goals and recently India's own inclusive growth, sabka saath sabka vikas. If it is not there in your proposal, how it is helping in that aim, then your proposal will have no chance to get any funding, either domestic or international. So then next slide, please. Next slide. So next slide, I have already explained it. Next slide. So parts of research proposal. So we have we'll discuss about these different components. It has to have a title, cover page, an abstract. See, somebody can use your abstract, but now it is become a fashion to use executive summary. That your proposal should have a executive summary in the beginning, which should not be more than 2 pages to 3 pages. Certainly not 1 page. 1 page executive summary nobody reads. So it has to be either 1 to 3 pages between. More than 3 pages is also not required. So that is very important. The abstract or the executive summary. Then table of contents, introduction, background, description of proper research. So all these components I will explain one by one. Next slide, please. Next slide. Sorry, I missed the title. So the title is important. So in the title slide, title is missing. So that is, you can write there. So how to make the title? Uh, so how to make the title? So the title is important. It is should the title only 50% of your effort in securing fund is realized through your title. And I'll tell you, I am not a very good at that. As an expert, I am not good at that, but I have learned if your title is not attractive, people hardly even look what is inside. Okay, so the framing of this title is a skill, is an art. It has to be mastered. It does not go by any class teaching or any kind of that training or a handbook on writing titles. There are a lot of books, handbooks now, how to write project proposals, how to give your title. That does not help. It only comes, I told you yesterday, if you have internalized your research problem, you have internalized and understood what is the underlying process of the outcomes and interventions, then only you can make a proper title, and your title won you half of the battle. Once your title is good, people just think that you are good enough to carry out this research. So uh, so the format, if is the format is often specified by the funding agency. The principal investigator in the title page, your information about the principal investigator or your department or university has to be there. Name of the organization also should be mentioned in the title page, and also the starting date and budget also needs to be mentioned. So total funds requested and institution credentials, like let's say CMDR is a affiliated to Indian Council of Social Science Research, and also getting support from government of Karnataka. So that adds to your credentials that your institute has been, let's say, awarded by some organization in your field of expertise. Those kind of things has to be in your title page, so that, like many research agencies, private, they write, like Chanakya or something, we are a ISO some 2001 or something company. So that gives an indication that this institute has been certified by a professional body in that area. So this is very important to get research funding. Then another crucial thing people missed, even if everything is correct, the appearance. Now people are putting lot of emphasis on how you are presenting, how you are formatting, and how even the color sense of the proposals, especially the cover page, is also becoming very, very important nowadays. See, many of the things I can take telling you, you may not get, but the practical needs are also, you'll find the senior people who works in the field of research, especially they have mastered in securing funds, they will tell you that what is inside is important, but what is on the cover is more important. So that's why your but at the same time it does not have to be lot of fancy, or many people do not like a bounded, because report is bounded, not a proposal. Proposal has to be so this is how. Then next slide please. I think I have to go a little fast. Next slide. So now the content, please go to content page. Content. So after the title page, content, please, Sima, go to content page, please. Content. So very proposal. So sometimes the content page is necessary, sometimes not. If the page proposal is more than 10 pages, 15 pages, then you use a content page indicating the chapters and corresponding page numbers. Okay. So the table of contents should have all major parts and divisions. The next slide is very important. Next. So I was telling this abstract or executive summary. So every proposal should have one executive summary. This executive summary summarizes the need for the research, what is the innovative thing you are going to do, innovative way. Again, when I am using word innovative, don't get confused that I told that in research study it is innovative, but what is innovative in research grant, research proposal? The innovative is your approach to the problem, your approach to study the problem, your approach to collection data, your approach to analyze. So all this field, they will seek that you have improvised upon the existing methodology towards the research. So this executive summary, in that context, I told you it should not be more than 3 pages. Always good proposals you'll see they'll even not complete third page. It will be 2 pages, 2 pages plus, 2.5 pages to be precise. So that gives an indication that all the components in contents and with respect to title, everything has been presented, because you are going to do research. In executive summary you cannot conclude, you avoid any conclusion in executive summary. You can only write, we are expecting to see this function, we are expecting to see this association. So It cannot be conclusive statement, but still this executive summary helps you to present your research proposal in toto. The next slide, please. Now this is the introduction. Like executive summary is abstract. Introduction, it depends. Like your ICSR, if you, those who are applying, you may know 700 words they will give. But if you see some of the foreign research grants, your introduction page itself will be 20 pages. Okay. So now, as a researcher, you have to find out that what are the things to be kept in introduction, because your introduction cannot be your conclusion chapter. Your introduction cannot be your literature review. Your introduction cannot be your major findings from chapters which you have planned. So in introduction, what we generally do, if it is a condensed thing, let's say they don't look forward more than 1500 2000 words, then you focus more on why this issue is bothering you, why it should be bothering to policymakers, why this issue need to be relooked because somebody has already looked it there, that's why there is some intervention is already going on, but that is not sufficient, and how you are going to improve and to what means, and how your means are better than what has been already employed earlier. Okay. So in the introduction, you have to emphasize that your proposal is innovative. Many people, what they think, if they add more number of research questions, more number of research hypotheses, more number of research objectives, then there would be more likelihood of getting a fund. And many people think we have to be very, very precise. So there has to be at least two to three, not more than that. The earlier approach, I'll tell you, it's strict no. You cannot go on listing 10, 15 research objectives. That is nobody, just it is a ground up for it is you are providing your say because you are competing with other persons. No, you are not alone in application. So that itself helps that person to remove you from the competition without going into your text. This fellow has put the entire sky under the umbrella. So let's keep this informed guy out. So that is the how the proposals are generally evaluated. So you have to be very, very precise. I'll tell not more than 4 to 5 or maximum 6 research questions, objectives, and hypotheses should be there. And then another thing in introduction, many people think that research research objective, research objective, research objectives, research questions, and research hypotheses are same and one. So you'll find that lot of repetition in the sections. The same thing, they little bit try to be smart and they'll be smart and they will be right, so that they just change the grammar or text or the letters. But if you but in actual you will see that there is no difference between the sentences made. So whenever you are writing research proposals, and in that section research objectives, hypothesis, and research questions, you have to be very, very careful that first what should come, first should come the research objectives. Based on research objectives, your research questions should be drawn. Then, if your research questions, when it will be drawn from that, research hypothesis has to be drawn. So, research hypothesis, like I gave you example in previous class, that research hypothesis has to be a closed-ended sentence. Whereas research questions are questions. You can put a question mark or you can keep it open ended, but it is a question. It is inquiry. But research objectives are more precise. From the questions, the objectives has been derived. From the question, the objective has been finalized. From those objectives, you have drawn the hypothesis. So hypothesis has to be a closed-ended sentence. Please remember these three things I am emphasizing, as many people get confused that what to write here and what to write here. Okay, only special, very few people know what are the difference in these three sections. And these three are very, very crucial to win you your research grant. Okay, research objective will follow the research question, then the research hypothesis. If you think that research hypothesis at this stage is not appropriate because you may be doing some inductive, you may not have the clarity, you are doing a snowball sampling kind of study, just stop at research questions. Don't put hypothesis. Hypothesis will be there only when you have the data. Then you can formulate hypothesis and test it. So it is not compulsory that in introduction hypothesis has to be there, but research objective and questions are must. Questions has to be precise. In a given question, you look at only two attributes, like one research question: does education, increased education of women, help in empowerment, women empowerment? So that is a research question. Then what should be research objective? Your research objective would have been that facilitating women education will help in improving women empowerment. So that is your research objective. You are looking at this objective. Now you are coming to the research question. Now the hypothesis, if we go further, it has to be very, very precise. We found at certain level of education, our hypothesis that at a certain level of education, let's say those who have completed graduation or more, are less likely to face any atrocity. So that is just for example. That's how we make it. So the research hypothesis, if you are not sure what is your hypothesis, then avoid it, because you can say my studies explorational. So in explorational study, I may use some inductive method. So I am not able to formulate my research hypothesis as of now. So with that, and do not list what is something called what is the potential use of this research. People go on writing endless. No, you have been given, let's say you are given a task of assessing Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana's impact on the community or rural housing. You keep your deliverables. This is called deliverables. So deliverables should not be overstated. People say, I'll publish in the international journals, I'll publish in Scopus journals. No, you say that we'll bring out couple of policy briefs, give thematic that on these themes, I'll write short policy briefs for the policymakers. Paper you may write. The funding agency is not sitting there to read your complete research paper, but they need your input. So prepare short documents, documentaries. Nowadays, people are also making research documentaries. So documentaries, small pamphlets, small policy graphs, some monograph you made. That is how the deliver, and deliverables should not be too many. Okay, too many deliverables is also another helping hand for your evaluator to reject your proposal. Okay, so that is the introduction section. Next, please, we have another 10-15 minutes. So problem statement, I have told you that how to write problem statement, and from this problem statement the research objective, questions, objectives will come. We have discussed it. Next slide please. Next slide please. So secondary information, this is very crucial. This is where people what do generally, it depends, because those who have applied for ICSR will find that you have to do your literature review within 1,000 words. Now, how you can do it? Suppose in your research area, there are already 6,000 papers have been published with ISBN mark. Now, what to do? If you do not have access to Mendeley or Zoreto or reference manager, You may do some kind of meta-analysis, then you can finally find a synthesis, and you can write. And I request you, all of you, to learn these things also. So it will help you to write research for research project. Literature review will be very precise and very helpful, because the after coming of artificial intelligence, this process is also very fast. But you express the findings in your own words, do not just copy and paste it. Okay, so that's how this part can be addressed. So the research literature review is very, very important. Sometimes the proposal asks a different chapter, sometimes it has to be in the introduction. So if it is in introduction, so take only most recent, let's say last 5 years, not more than 6 to 7 very high quality works, which is cited throughout. So that's how you can have a very concise report. If you have freedom to add more in literature review, then you can justify, let's say, last 30 years, 40 years, 50 years. But the problem in nowadays is happening, many of the reviewers are using the or softwares, so to find out use of reference, means the reference which you have collected, whether it is from a genuine source or not, whether it is a genuine work or not. Now many people are finding it difficulty that before it is whatever materials has been produced, many of them are not in, it may be in gestor or EPW, but it is priced or it is restricted use. So people are ideally nowadays preferring last 5 to 7 years of work, 5 to 7 years of work, but published referred journals, that has to be acted like this. Do not add the news items, do not add these blogs, discussions in the literature review. That gives a bad impression that you are not familiar with the formal sources. Okay, next, the secondary. So the secondary information we have talked about. Please go ahead. Some title missing. Okay. The specialist. So, then the list of reference. So this I have, I think. Please keep hold of it. One title is missing. Keep that slide before. Yes. So now another thing is that our proposal always should be, suppose writing something on housing. So those who are working in rural housing should be cited in the proposal. And some of the issues, see, many of the people, experts, when they write a research article, they also motivate others to explore certain aspects, certain phenomena which they were unable to. That is the difference between a ordinary researcher and a expert. An ordinary researcher says, my word is final. There is nothing to explore further. But the expert's thing is that always he sees or she sees his or her own limitation and tell others to take it forward. So those kind of literatures, if you cite, it will be very helpful that your reviewer will find out, okay, this person knows what are the best works in the past and where that concerned author has told to look further, and this fellow is doing the same. So that increases the probability of getting your proposal being accepted. Understood? That whatever you do proposal, that has to be certain references which is from the so-called experts in that area, which gives a kind of justification for you that these people have what, but they have left here, and from there on I am taking over. Okay, those kind of proposals have greater chance to get funding. Next please. So list of reference, always people what they do, they follow APA reference, they follow some other reference. So this is not done. If you are writing a proposal, very few give what should be the reference style. Otherwise, APA is the world over standard format. So as per APA style, you have to do references separately for the articles, for the book chapters, for the blogs, for the monographs, for the ICT materials like videos, documentaries. So that for that uniformity in the reference is very, very needed. And you can also do that these are the books, these are the articles, these are the audio visual documentaries. You don't mix up. Once you mix up, that also irritates the person who reviews your work proposal, saying that this fellow has taken everything from whatever he got and put it here for me to find out whether it is article or it is a book. So that should be avoided. Second, next slide, please. Next slide. So then the hiring personnel. Sometimes people, what they do to impress the reviewer, they write many big names without specifying their roles, how they have helped in conceptualization, how they are going to contribute in the process of research, how they are going to be helpful in the deliberations, and they put big names thinking that it may work. It works. Sometimes it works, but largely, if it is competitive bidding or competitive kind of proposal, then you have to be very, very economical and reasonable of who are the project leaders, co-PDs, and experts, consultants, and what are the specific roles they will play. Because you can see almost all national international journals now they are saying that what are the team of authors have done for this article. So please, so okay, so there is not much slide. We can go to last slide. Last slide, please. Last slide, please. Miss Sima, please, last slide. Siddhapaji, anybody is there?
Sir, ma'am lost connection, sir.
Okay, so now the last slide, please. Last slide. So the budget. Okay. Do you have the last slide? Oh my God, because your next class is coming.
Sorry, sir, some network issue was there. That's
Okay,
why.
so the last slide is about the budget. So I am opening here and telling you, you can listen me, na? Are you able to listen? Hello?
Yes, sir, we are listening.
So I am
Yes, sir. Yes,
reading
sir.
the last slide from here, from my thing. Uh, So we'll go to the budget. Okay, hiring personnel after that budget. So when many of the proposals finally, you'll see that who are bidding for this, especially the evaluation studies, which comes under today's topic, research grants. I'm talking about research grants, not research studies, fellowships, etc., but research grants. So you'll find that shall be. So the budget is very important. I told you 50% will be owned by the title page. If remaining 10% will be owned by your research objectives and questions, hypothetically I am saying. But 40% or 50%, I will tell you, will be covered by your how rational you are in budgeting. Many people, because of their compulsion, working in systems like ours, where we have to generate our own funds to a certain extent, we sometimes do that fully. But most of the time, the funding agency, they are very, very equipped now with lot of good financial experts and CA, chartered accountants, who will tell them this fellow is going to rob you. Please drop it. We are not going to be enlightened so much by this person's proposal or this team's proposal. So don't even review it for your budget, because the budget is too high. So that's what the budget may have several components depending upon agencies. Like some, like ICSR, they don't give the project leaders or co-PDs their salary, but research associate onwards they pay. But some of the funding ends like Niti Aayog have very good component for the project leader also to incentive and advise them. So it is differs from agency to agency, project to projects. So what you have to do in budgeting, you have to justify your budget by components, number of staffs to be engaged, and number of days you are asking for field work. These three. So what is fast? You have to be very, very clear about what are the components in your research project which are essential, how many persons are needed to handle those components, and what will be the duration, then what will be your pay structure. Sometimes some agencies look for that what is your internal pay structure and what is your expected pay structure that you are looking for. So if it is internal, you have to position again according to your institution. Many people's proposals got rejected because they put very in on inflated figures. If like our ICSR proposals and some other department proposals, you will see that they have put a proportion called for the field work only 45% of the budget grant can be used. Rest will be for different purpose. Then admin charges can be for certain 10 percentage or so. So if this is the way people are working, then what you have to do when you are making a budget. So last slide is with you. You see the budget. So the budget has to be very, very rational, economical, and most of the times they are now going by the per schedule rate. What is the per schedule you are charging? Sometimes everything was fine, but somebody's per schedule is some in hundreds and somebody is in thousands. That makes difference and you lose the project. So this is my broad lecture today. I'll finish. I'll not take more time. You need some time to for the next class also. I'll end it here. But this PPT, I'll add some two, three more, which is self-explanatory. You can follow, and I'll give you a material in PDF as well as link to it, which will help you like for study grants, for study proposals, for research fellowships. Like somebody is talking about how to get international fellowship. That is a very good source. It will benefit all of you. That is a gift from my side to all of you. Thank you. Thank you. My thing is
Thank,
over.
thank you, sir. If there is any questions, please, the session
I
will.
think there is not much question because you should give some time to yourself to listen the next speaker.
Yes, sir.
And I am always there. Dr. Sidhu is there. So it is not that after 19th also I'll be in touch. No problem. My email ID and numbers are given in the PPT. So you can write to me or call me.
Yes,
Okay.
sir.
Okay. Thank you, CMDR and organizers for giving me this opportunity. Thank you to Dr. Sidhu Swami for inviting me. I could not meet in person. This first time perhaps happened. But anyway, we'll meet soon. Okay.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for your wonderful session. And on the behalf of everyone, please turn on your Camera.
My camera is on.
Okay.
We are only 4 people.
No, sir. They are turning on their cameras.
I think some people have not slept after. They are at CMDR or they are at their home now?
They are at their place only, sir.
Okay, okay. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Thank you for the session, sir.
Okay, you are taken photo?
Yes, I have taken the photos, sir.
Okay, you share that photo also with me.